Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Hey there, we were in love for the first time, and I was always picking up the pieces you left behind. Hey there, we haven't talked in a while. I bleached my hair and my car still stalls in the rain. You still play all my favorite bands. You tackled your college, you're falling in love with your brand new man that I know you can't stand. Wish I was watching fireworks with my friends off the coast of New Jersey. Instead I've got flashbacks from your front door, picking at scabs from when we spoke last. I wish I hadn't told my friends that I would be okay when I knew shit would end the same. Drown myself in the deep end just to talk to my old friends. Oh, that's alright. 1,000 memories turn into a melody, hidden in the back of all the fights that made us enemy. Get back my closer, you could act like you're a friend to me. It's easier to diagnose your lies with their apology. I wanna watch you when you choke up and realize it's some nostalgia breaking down parts of real life. It wasted ages, I carry it with me. The road is forgotten, so I still wish I was watching fireworks with my friends off the coast of New Jersey. Instead I've got flashbacks from your front door, picking at scabs from when we spoke last. I wish I hadn't told my friends that I would be okay when I knew shit would end the same. Drown myself in the deep end just to talk to my old friends. My 20s have just begun. I feel like they're getting wasted. I hate every job, so I don't stick around. It's becoming a habit, I guess. Maybe I go back to school. Maybe I could get my head straight. Maybe I do it. Maybe I stop saying I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. So I just breathe in, oh I breathe in, oh I just don't let it out. But I wish these fucking fireworks would just change my life, but I'm still making old mistakes. I can't fit in this new skin. I can't fit in this new skin.
What's up, everybody? Another week, another edition of the show. This week I have Jeff of the awesome band out of Ohio. Band is called Brown Maple. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Yo, what's up? So happy to be here.
So I reached out to you recently because I heard the split that recently came out. It's called Songs About Cats and Starting Over. And yeah, it's one of the things where as soon as I hear something from somebody, I go find all their music. So after I heard that, spent time at Bandcamp listening to everything you put out into the universe and just had to reach out to you because I love what I'm hearing and I want more people to hear it. So that's
heck yeah. Heck yeah. Can I say worse than heck?
Absolutely. This is,
Oh, you can say
you know,
whatever.
yeah, you can
Okay,
say
cool. I
whatever
should have
the
just.
fuck you want.
Oh, dude, I so should have asked beforehand. You were like, you gave me so much time that you were like, all right, you ready? And then, do you have any questions? And then I just didn't ask it. But yeah, no, yeah, no. I yeah, I'm really happy about the new songs. I think they sound great, and a lot of people have been telling us they like them, and we're super stoked about it.
So when it comes to, being able to make music and get it out, and it also seems like you're creating music with friends and other bands that you put a couple splits out with other bands. So I mean, what's your process like when deciding on possibly who to work with and put splits out with?
Honestly, there's not much that goes into it. It kind of comes down to like, do I fuck with you? And like, Braden's always been so cool, and like Braden's like been like one of like the day one listeners to our band, and I always liked Braden's music too, and St. Judas. Um, and I was like thinking to myself, like, part of it, I didn't want it to feel like, I didn't want it to feel like it was like work. I was like, I want to just like put out music with someone who I just also really like their music, and like someone that is just cool. And I was like, yeah, Braden's a great person. So let's go ahead and do some music with St. Judas. And we like we like put a bunch of time into like finding all these different pictures of cats from like different members of like the DIY scene, and being like, "Hey, send us pictures of your cats." And we're like, "Oh, okay, I guess." And that's how we got like the cover and all that stuff.
Well, I I mean, if people are sitting around and someone just messages them, send me pictures of your cats, I'm sure there's a moment prior to them sending it that go, why the fuck am I sending this picture of a
Yeah,
cat?
no, they're just like, "Who are you? Why do you want pictures of my cats? Are you with the feds?" And you're like, "No, I'm making an album. I'm making music, and pictures of your cats are required for this."
So why don't you give me a synopsis of like how brown maple became to be what it is today?
Okay, yeah. So, brown maple, it's always been like Julian and I, and we've had a bunch of different members like in the past. Um, it's always been Julian and I. I'm thinking that's like it's been like what, since 2019 actually is when this band started. Um, we just found modern baseball, and we were like, this sounds super cool, and we would love to be in a band like this. Um, so I guess we just started like jamming in the garage, in between like when we didn't have to be at practice for our other band that we were in. We were like practicing in the garage and like trying out like this Midwest emo stuff, and it's just been like a long process of like switching out members and just putting out music. Um, and here we are today, I guess.
Well, that is a quick synopsis of
Yeah, I sort of lost track of what I was saying. Like, fed into my own rabbit hole.
no worries. Now, let's get start early on in your life. When did music kind of take a hold of you? Did you grow up in a musical household? Do you kind of remember the first time you heard music and it kind of piqued your interest?
It was I did not grow up in a musical household, but it was Guitar Hero that like did it for me. I like the first time playing Guitar Hero, I sat there like watching like the notes go by, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool that it like lines up with the rhythms of the song and stuff." And I'm like 11 years old, and at that point I had not been doing music, but I knew I wanted to like start doing band in school when that became available. And once that became available, I started in percussion, and I just like never stopped. But like my parents, they didn't really understand where it came from, because they're like, we are not musical people at all, and no one in our lineage is like musical. It's just him. So we've that's when it sort of first caught on. But then like high school is when I started like getting more into rock music and stuff. Um, that's when I started getting into like bands like Green Day and like Blink 182 and stuff. So at that point is when I decided I wanted to start playing the guitar. And after I started like playing the guitar, I was the natural next step was like I want to start a band and I want to start performing music and stuff.
Okay, so when you're, I mean, Guitar Hero. Let's go there. I don't think it gets enough credit for creating some musicians.
No,
Video
it really
games.
doesn't.
Video games were always, as our parents would say, would ruin your life, and they would teach you nothing, and you would just turn into murderers and all that kind of stuff. And Guitar Hero, to me, talking to younger generations and finding it and seeing it happen with my own nieces and nephews when music started to take a hold of them, they were young and it was because of Guitar Hero. Like
Hmm.
what, what 10-year-old kid in, you know, 2008 says, Mom, Dad, can you get me this Aerosmith album? No one.
No, no,
But it was because
absolutely
of
not.
Guitar Hero.
And up until that point, like I was like, I was like really into like dubstep and like random like stuff that I found on like gaming videos and whatnot. But like I'd never really been getting into rock music. But until it was like Guitar Hero was the introduction to it, and then like I started exploring and listening to other stuff. But I always knew I wanted to be on stage somehow. But I just somehow had never found out about Green Day or any of like those like pop punk bands until I got into like high school.
So, I mean, how did dubstep come into your life younger than that? Like, that seems pretty peculiar to me. That was it
No, it
from
was
like,
it was Guitar Hero, then dubstep, and then
okay.
back into like rock music after that. My bad, I explained that poorly.
I was gonna say, like, were you watching some crazy anime as a young kid?
No, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos about like Minecraft and stuff.
No, I
And
get
I
it
was
now.
yeah, and like or like Call of Duty and stuff like that, and like it would be like the MLG stuff.
When you get in a band in high school, right, or you start playing instruments, you're the first thing. I mean, in my generation, as soon as you started playing an instrument, you looked for someone else who was playing an instrument and you tried to start a band. Did you do that? Did you, like, as soon as you started getting into music and playing music, look for other people so you could start a band?
Yeah, in high school, it was I didn't actually know how to play anything but like marching drums and like different like auxiliary percussion. So I actually didn't have an instrument that I would bring to the table. I just told all my friends that I was like, yeah, I can sing. And then somehow my first band was actually a ska band that I
What was the
started
name of
with.
that band?
That band was called Pepper Grinds. We were a ska cover band. We only ever played one show, and we like covered like Streetlight Manifesto and like Real Big Fish, like a couple of those songs. But like I somehow, because I wanted to be in a band so much, like I somehow rounded up like seven different musicians and like synced up our schedules enough that we were able to be a band. And it was just like kids in band class or like orchestra or just whoever I knew that played an instrument that I would like somehow rope them into it. Into
I
my
would have
like
thought
chaotic pipe dream of just wanting to be on stage.
I would have thought you only played songs by the band Pepper. To be perfectly honest, with your Pepper Grinds and
People
your
thought
ska.
that we were gonna do people thought that we were gonna do like the Salt and Pepper song, the push it real good.
You should have. I mean, you
We should
probably,
have.
yeah.
It would have
I
been
mean,
crazy. Me,
yeah,
16 years old, just oh my god, that would have been so fun.
yeah. I mean, to look back on the opportunity missed. I mean, but hey, that time's gone. But it's
Yeah,
not gone
it's over.
forever. Just remember
Yeah,
that.
it could happen someday. I could cover that song. I'm sure.
Now, was that the first time you performed in front of strangers when you played that one show? Was that your very
No,
first?
I'd like my first performance was like in like sixth grade band, but like my first performance that like people were looking at me and stuff. That was my first like real performance.
And did you like automatically have the bug after that, or were you
Oh,
like,
I
well,
loved it. I loved
yeah?
it. I wasn't particularly good at it, but I loved it so early on. I was like, oh, I have to play as many shows as I can for the rest of my life and
Well, if you
always chase this feeling.
if you told me you were really good at it, I would have told you you're fucking lying.
No, I would have
We would
been
have stopped the
lying.
show
I
immediately.
100. I would have been gaslighting you at that point.
Yes.
That would have been just full on manipulation. Yeah, I was great from the start.
You're one of those.
Yeah, I was a prodigy. Imagine me.
Now, leaving, Pepper Grind in the dust. And
that was a good one. Yo, I
right,
gotta give you
but
that.
there's the dad joke of the
That was
day.
great.
But moving forward, I mean, what was your next step into, music? Where was the very next thing that you did? What was it?
I was like, okay, organizing 7 people was such a task. But I was like, I got to cut down on the amount of people I need to organize. So that means I got to start playing the guitar. And that's when I started like really being like, okay, if I want to be in like a rock band and have it functional, I can't depend on so many people to be able to practice. Like that takes so much time that I don't have, and I'm failing my classes because of this one show I wanted to play. So I was like, let me actually learn how to play the guitar. And I ended up taking some of the members from Pepper Grinds and starting another band. And that was called Page 20. Write that down. That's going to be on the exam.
Okay. I mean, it's a little better than Pepper Grind, but
Yeah, no, we were Page 20.
Why?
And I don't even remember why. I don't even remember. It was like I was in a chemistry class with my bassist Kyle, and we were like trying to come up with a band name, and we were like on page 20 of our book, and I was like, dude, that'll be such a funny story later, like I said in my Mordecai voice.
It's not funny. I'll be the first to tell you it's not a funny story right now. Not yet.
No, not yet.
You got time to work on it though.
Okay.
I mean, the good thing about life is that you got some time, and let's work on that story for the next time you have to tell it.
Yeah. But no, Kyle was like, yeah, that'll be great. We'll use that. And then we stuck with that show, Backyard. And when we played, like after that one, like we were all like, okay, we're in our next year of school and everything's harder, so we don't have. And then I started another band, like still just chasing after it. I just want to play shows and stuff. I started French, and that band was and
Are you building a popsicle stick house over there?
No, I'm playing with a guitar pick in my hand. I'm just fidgeting. Yeah, I do that from time to time. It's a Tortex. It's a yellow Dunlop Tortex. But we started that band that became Winterground, and I think that was like my first serious band that like continuously played multiple shows. And then after that band was Brown Maple.
Now, what was it that kept, which is a good name, Winterground? Seriously.
Yeah, I'll take that one. That one was a good one.
Yeah. So what was it at that point that made that stick longer than, the other,
Trent and I were both committed. Trent and I were both very committed that like we were like, all right, like we both wanted to play shows as much as the other guy. So we were like, even if we have like even if this other guy doesn't stay in the band for long, like you and I can still do it. Like let's just keep doing this through high school. And I think it was just like finding another committed musician and stuff that we were like, yes, let's do this and stick with it for a while.
That's, not a lot of people have that. I mean, it's very,
no, especially not in high school.
No.
It was like we were like focused on like exams and like trying to get into college, and like now I'm 24 and still in college.
Hey, listen, going to school to be a doctor takes a long time, so stick at it.
I'm still just trying to get an associate's right now. And I'm still completely undecided. I'm like, I just have some experience now in like marketing, but it feels like it's accounting because that's the only classes that I've really been taking. I'm like, how is this gonna follow up with my degree plan? No.
Yeah, well,
but yeah, that was our focus, was like getting into college and like whatnot, and then but finding someone else who wanted to put a bunch of time into being in a band, that was really cool as well.
Now, from having your first performance, what was the first concert you ever went to? And did you get to choose it?
I think the first concert I went to was, I think it was in my hometown, at Frankie's, which I actually just like I we just played a show there for the first time in like years. But like my first show was, gosh, I couldn't even tell you. It was just some punk show, and I just saw a bunch of kids pushing and shoving and stuff, and I just wanted to be a part of it for the rest of forever. Like as like I think I was like 14 years old.
Mhm.
It was definitely freshman year. And then I got obsessed with going to shows, and I was like blowing off school to go to shows and stuff. And my parents were like, you gotta make sure you're not going to shows. You gotta, pass your classes and stuff. And I was like, you're totally right. But this is so cool. And
Yeah.
I would
So you
like sneak
studied
out.
at a friend's house a lot, right?
Yeah, no, I would study at a friend's house, or we would be going to drumline practice, or we would be doing this or that, and then really we were just going downtown. And like my mom, like nowadays, she's like, okay, the fact that you're like a musician and that it's something that you love doing, um, she's like, I'm glad that you did that when you were younger, and I'm glad you had that experience and whatnot.
Yeah, that's it's a good thing to have. I was very lucky that, when I was in high school, this is back in the early 90s, but I lived, you know, outside of New York City and would just go to shows constantly. And my parents are like, he's going to do what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, as long as if he calls us and needs a ride or something, we'll go pick him up. But like, we're not going to be able to stop him because music was such a huge part of my life. And they
Mm-hmm.
knew that there was no way that, like, yeah, he's going to the city with his friends and they're going to concerts. And it is what it is.
I know, like
As long as
sneaking
he,
out to go and do it too.
yeah, like as long as there's, the F's aren't, constantly coming in on his report card, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
But they were very good about, all right, he's with his friends. And, I was very lucky, got to see huge bands that were playing small clubs before they got big. And like,
Mm-hmm.
that was my life that made me be like, wow, look at all these fucking, like, telling stories about, seeing Rage Against the Machine for $10 in New York City. And, then a year later, they're, biggest band in the world. And same thing with seeing Green Day as the opening band for, at some punk shows and being like, yeah, look at them later. But like, just
The I
that kind of
have
stuff is awesome.
I think I don't think sorry. I think I've had one of those experiences, but I don't even remember it because I was going to so many shows and there were so many bands I was seeing at the time. I think I saw Hot Mulligan at Frankie's before, like way before they were even big at all. Like way before they blew up. And like I couldn't tell you because like once again there were just so many bands. But like when I found out recently that they had played at Frankie's one time, I was like, wait, was I at that show? And I'm sure that's something you've had that moment before.
Oh, tons of times where it's especially for me, like, and I didn't start until 2016 where I started keeping track of every band that I saw. Like I would just write it down in my notes as soon as they were done on stage. And it's because I go to so many shows still to this day.
Hmm.
As an old man, I go to close to probably 100 shows a year.
No, that's the best thing to do. Like
And like
it's
just writing it, because you don't get a ticket anymore. And even like back in the day when you did get a ticket, it was very few and far between that you would get all the bands that were on that bill on that ticket. So it just became like, I need to write these down because I remember earlier ones, but then there's like this fog in my 20s and, in the late 90s and early 2000s of going to so many shows and forgetting the bands that I saw. And then like starting to remember it and being like, oh shit, yeah, I remember seeing at the drive-in open for the Get Up Kids, and like, fuck, like, yeah, that was in fucking 2001. Like, and then forgetting about it,
yeah, I'm sure like when I'm like 35, I'm gonna be like, oh, did I see that band when I was 24? I don't know. I was too drunk. Who
Yeah.
knows? I'm gonna have to start actually like writing it down.
Yeah, and that was a big thing too for me back in the day, where it was like you paid for a ticket and you would go for the openers, right? You wouldn't go in for the openers. I mean, you would just be like, all right, well, I'm going to see, for instance, hey, I'm going to see Gorilla Biscuits, even though you didn't know that fucking, Shelter or some other cool bands were opening. You were just like, well, I paid for the one. And now that I'm older, I never miss an opener because
Mm-mm.
I could find my new favorite band.
And like
And
I ask myself what else am I going to be doing at that time?
yeah, yeah.
Like what am I going to be doing homework or something that I'm like, yeah, let me miss the opener of this show.
And that's why like now, so I recently opened a record store / music venue. And when I'm putting on shows there and I'm only having two artists and I'm telling people when they buy tickets, if they're buying tickets in advance, like, listen, it's an hour and 45 minutes out of your fucking life. You're going to come in and watch both of them. Because if you don't and you're only showing up for the headliner, sorry, you're not allowed in. I don't care. Like,
Dang.
it's, I want people to pay attention because I learned, over the course of my life that opener is just as important as the headliner. And, everybody started out as an opener. No
Mhm.
one started out being the headliner going out
I
and
mean,
doing
we are still the opener and stuff as well. But like at the same time, I don't resent that in any way. Like I'm kind of cherishing the time that like I'm just able to go and play music and stuff and not have to like I'm just a person in the world who is able to go and play music, and that's one of the things I have to worry about. Like things could be much worse. And like to be an opening band, there's really nothing wrong in it. There's no shame in it at all by any means.
No, and a lot of times, and as I explain to younger generations when talking about stuff like this, is a lot of the times the headliner are bringing out bands that they themselves like and listen to. So, you can find out a lot more about it too, about the band that you love based on who's opening for them, because a
Hmm.
lot of times it's bands that they themselves love. So, that you got to take that opportunity you already paid, right? You already paid a certain amount of price. And if you break it down, that's what I start doing is I'll break it down. Oh, there's a 4-band bill and I paid $20, so it's $5 a band. Like, that's a great fucking deal.
Yeah.
You're seeing live music for $5 a band. Like that's fucking awesome. Well, what else are you doing if you can't get there? And listen, I know people have jobs and you can't always get there on time and
Hmm.
things like that by the time it starts. But majority of you can, because shows are starting at 8 o'clock at night. So
Yeah.
you know
I
that,
like I like that. I like the timing that people have been like doing recently because I remember when I was younger, shows would start so much later and like I would be getting home to like 1 a.m. and I would always be in a fight with my parents after when I got home. And then like now as an adult, I'm home by 11 and I'm just like, where was this when I was younger?
well, listen, I do it all the time, like especially when I go see like bands that are my age or older, say in their mid 50s or late 50s, early 60s, and they're still playing music and they're playing shows on a Sunday night. Like, why the fuck are you not going on till 10 o'clock on a Sunday night?
Oh my God.
All your fans that are here are fucking old, and we all have jobs to get to Monday morning. You should be going on at fucking 7:30.
Hold on.
Let's
I'm
be
gonna
honest.
close my window really quick.
Yeah.
The neighborhood kids are going out for to play like tag or something for the evening. All right. Okay. That's they're just walking down the street screaming. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing is just walking down the street screaming. They're not even playing a game or anything. I can't. This is wow.
They knew you were doing something. That's just how kids are,
They
man.
knew
They
I was
just know.
doing something and they knew the window was open.
Yeah.
They were like, let's change that.
Now, from all the shows that you have been to, do you have a show that are so excited that you happen to be there, and it's just like your favorite show to date? For me, it's usually the last show that I saw, but I mean, there are ones that stand out in my
Oh
head.
gosh, I want to say like I feel like one of my most memorable shows. I will say that like yeah, it was Streetlight Manifesto when I was like I don't remember when it was. I think I was like 18, and it was so special to me because like that was the band that had got me into like that was the band that made me start a band and stuff that I was like I heard them and I was like, all right, I can't go any longer without doing this. And that's like why I started Pepper Grinds and stuff way back then. was because of them. And like when I finally got a chance to see them live, um, it was like with my friend who got me into music, and they were so good. And oh my god, it was just a surreal experience. The energy in the room was incredible. It was a sold out show. It was so cool. It was in Detroit. It was one of my first times like going to Detroit as like a teenager and stuff. Without my parents. So I was like, wow, this is like Gotham City.
That's awesome. How about a show that you've played that, for better or worse, just occupies this little space in your brain forever?
Oh, I think it would be it was actually wow, there were some good ones actually. Right now, it's between two. It's between two different shows. We headlined a local festival this year and back in May. Um, it was called Rat Fest, and like we were like the first headliner to go on, and like most of the acts that had gone on before us were like acoustic acts. We were like the one of the first like loud in your face bands, and like it was when we were like setting up. um I think people were in like the other room, and I was like wondering like I was like wondering how the set was gonna go and stuff. I was like nervous and stuff. And then like I turn around, I set my stuff up, and then like 3 minutes later I turned back around, and like with the lights in my face, there were so many people, and like it had been like after like just doing a lot of stuff, like music wise this year, putting in a lot of work and stuff. A lot of our friends like showed up for it. And dude, that set was really great. And then the energy at the Alt Account release show, we opened up the Alt Account show last year for equipment, and that was super cool as well. Those two spots, it's between those two that sit in my brain and replay in my head every once in a while.
Awesome. All right, now here's the hard question. It's our pick your favorite child segment, where if no one has ever heard your music before and you meet a complete stranger and they say, well, play me one song of yours that would best describe you as a band, like what song of yours would you play for that?
Hands down, it's going to be MPL, and that's why I named it MPL.
Well, where'd you go? I'll tag along just for the evening, out with your friends while I was sleeping. I never cared about the secrets you would hide, but if you think that you can keep them, then I don't think you know that we've been down this road so many times, but something's wrong. The water's dark, take it back and rewrite the lines. I think I could fondly look back at the time. No, I'm not sour, and I don't need this. I'm gonna live a better life, and I'll just leave with a song. And I cut you off so I can see my own reflection with
It was like I got the idea while I was cutting the grass, and I was like, "Oh wait, hold on, I got to drop what I'm doing and go and write this. This is good."
That is exactly 1000% what I have written on my paper that I played for people.
Yep. That one, and that one's like, that one has been like I hate to say fan favorite because that sounds like conceited and whatnot, but like that one's been like the fan favorite that like at the shows, like that's the one that people are singing the chorus to, and oh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's
and
great.
and I, to show the range, so because I usually do like I'll make like a little EP of myself to send to people if I hear a band that I like and I'm starting to get into. And so I started off at MPL, and then the second song I put on is Think of Me, because it shows the range of what you're capable of. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we've got some like we're in the process right now, insider exclusive right here, right now. We're in the process of like recording an album, and like I think a lot of the different ranges that we're like trying out on it are super cool, and they'll be so fun to play live, and we're like really happy with how it's sounding. It's honestly, it's gone so smoothly. Like we were expecting there to be more road bumps along the way for like just the process of recording an album and things going wrong or whatever. But like things have gone so smoothly, and it's been so great. And I think if you like Think of Me, there will be a couple of songs on the album that you'll like.
nice. I'm sure I'll like it all, but
Well,
yeah.
some that you'll especially like that like are sort of in that area but more expanded upon.
All right. Now, I thank you for the exclusive, and I'm going to ask a question, especially in today's world of music releases and things. When you have everything completed, um, and you start releasing, are you going to play the singles release game where you're going to release a single every month until you have 6 out, and then you release an entire album
No,
after that?
I'm just
Okay,
no.
thank God.
There's no chance. I understand from like a marketing standpoint how that works really, really well. And I don't shame any of the bands that are like trying to make a living, that have that chance, that opportunity to make a living off their music. I don't shame them for that, but it's just something I won't be doing myself unless I'm putting out, like the way I see it, the rule should be like if you put out like a double LP, if you put out 24 songs at the end of it, you can drop 6
Yeah.
singles if you want. Damn, you if you're putting out 24, you can I don't have anything to say. You can do whatever you want, quite frankly, at that point. But like if it's a 10-song album and you're dropping like more than 4 singles, that's, I don't know. That's just like so much time into it that I'm just gonna do, like when we do it, we'll just do 2 singles probably.
All right. Yeah, because my thing, as you know, I'm an album guy, so it's really tough for me to stay fully invested in it and engaged in the singles world of how it works. Just because the simple fact where I've gotten so frustrated and so fed up with hearing a song that I love and then going to listen to that band and there's only 2 singles out. And then
Hmm.
it kind of, for me at times too, I think you get lost. Like, you know how people's attention spans are. And so it's that double-edged sword of, how do we continue to engage people in what we're doing, uh, as opposed to releasing a full album and then people loving it for a short period of time and then moving on to something else. But at the same time, I think it's better that people get to hear everything you're capable of at once, instead of having to try to remember that they have to go back and listen to, oh, they're going to hopefully be releasing a new song this week or so. It's that attention span thing where it is a double-edged sword, especially in the climate of music releases that we're in right now, that it just, for me, it drives me crazy because I am so into, if you can't tell by me owning a record store, I'm into albums, and I'm into
Hmm.
listening to something all the way through and being like, fuck, that's awesome. I want to share this with the world, as opposed to finding a band who's got, a couple singles out and then just being like, yeah, I'm probably not going to go back to this because I don't have the time nor the bandwidth in my brain to fucking remember to do so all the time.
Yeah, and sometimes it does get confusing because like someone will drop 3 singles, and I'll be convinced that by like the fourth one that it's like the album. Like like I love Origami Angel, don't get me wrong, but I thought their album was out way sooner than it actually was. Um and like I was telling people it was out and they were like, it's not out. What are you talking about? Um but it was just because they had a lot of singles and stuff. And it gets a little bit confusing because like it just gets confusing because of that. Um, but I will say as well, like we have only put out we've really only ever put out EPs, and we've put out a decent amount of music, and like I feel like this one, like the album that we're doing right now, is like it's written for like album listeners like
Yeah.
yourself and whatnot, that like I don't really think the songs on it really will do well as singles because there's not like, I don't know. Um, I'll just have to send it to you. I'll just have to send it to you when it's done and whatnot. But it's like I feel like it's an album for album listeners as
Yeah.
opposed to people who want like a catchy chorus and whatnot.
Well, that's the thing
Necessarily.
now. Like, I've had conversations with people and they're like, "Oh, you got to listen to this album. It's a concept album," and I'll listen to it. I go, "It's not a concept album. It's just an album. Albums are supposed to tell stories." I
Yeah.
go, "It's not like a concept album is, you know, it's something that only the greatest bands in the world can do, is a concept album where it's totally off the fucking wall and you're not used to it or ready for it. But when someone's bringing you something, I go, it's not a concept. It's not a new concept. They're just putting out an album that tells a story, which is what 90% of the albums that were released before fucking 2010, that's what they all
I
were."
I loved The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. That for a long time was my favorite album. And it's a story. It's like a linear story about some dude who like dies, and then like his journey between life and death. It's such a good album when you sit there and listen to the like lyrics and whatnot, but also so many of the songs work so well as singles and like as like catchy songs and poppy songs. I love it so much.
Yeah. Well, and
I
it's not
wish
an
more
easy thing to
albums were
do.
like it.
Yeah. It's that's not an easy thing to do, is where you could have like an album that's could be filled with singles, and it's hard to pick the ones that you're going to release as singles. And then when it comes together as a cohesive unit, like I think one of the best bands to ever do it was, Radiohead, and being able to decipher. You can't figure out which song should be the single because they were all great, but when you listen to any album, it's a full storytelling album that if one of those songs is missing, it's not the same.
Hmm. Like it feels like if you're gonna listen to it, you should just sit down and listen to the album as opposed to a random song coming on in the queue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just brought up My Chem as one of your favorite. Do you have like a band in your life that you constantly turn to that never lets you down? Something that you listen to when you don't know what you want to listen to, but you just always find yourself putting on that band or artist?
Um, recently, an artist, any specific artist, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Rolling Stone categorizes this question as, what's your favorite band? I don't. I look for a band that never lets you down.
What's a band that never lets me down whenever I want to listen to it? Dude, I love pre-hiatus Fall Out Boy so much. Any of their first 4 albums, I'll put on any song, and I know for a fact that will not let me down.
Wow. It's the first time they've been used on this show.
I absolutely love old Fall Out Boy. I didn't come across it until I was 19. I don't know how I didn't listen to it until I was like 19 or 20 or something like that. And then I listened to it. I was like, this is like some of the best pop punk I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
I loved pop punk for the longest time.
Well, earlier on too, you mentioned a band that you found long after they were done as a band too, which I think is so crazy that so many people found them after they were gone, like Modern Baseball. Like to think
Hmm.
that the influence they've had on, you know, I don't even want to throw things out to genre label them, but like in that indie emo-ish rock centric
Yeah,
era,
yeah.
like all they did and how many people love them is like the fact that they were very short lived, and like most people didn't find them till they were gone. It to
Oh
me
my
it's a
God.
travesty. Like I've
And it's
gotten
crazy because I, for some reason, I had not gotten into modern baseball at the time. But when I was in high school, my friend who got me going to shows was named Jake. Um, and he was like, "Yo, we've got tickets to see modern baseball. Come to this show." And I was like, "No, I've never heard of these guys." And then I had like some other show that I was going to that night that I knew who it was or whatever, but I didn't go to see modern baseball. Um, and I will say I do regret not going to the modern baseball show because like then shortly after that they like broke up, and then I got into modern baseball so heavily so quickly, and I was like, no way I missed this.
Yeah. Listen, again too, it's tough to know at the time, and that's, there's so many bands in my lifetime that were, as I put it, they were like an album and an EP or two albums and they were gone, and they're so revered in the world of music that, in the pocket of stuff that I listen to, like it's so crazy to think that certain bands had such an influence with such a limited amount of music and
Yeah.
were around for a long time that it just, I don't know how to describe it. And I don't know how artists feel about it. And I've had some of them on the show and I can never really get a real answer. But now in their elder statesman years, they're like, that's great, that everybody eventually found us. But at that time, you got to understand when you're a 19-year-old kid trying to change the world and it doesn't happen immediately, it's disheartening, and
Oh,
bands
I
break up
know.
because of that. And then we go on to do other things, and a lot of the bands that broke up and went on to do other things are still like, it's one of those things where like I found a band that I loved. They were together for a short period of time, and then every band member went to another band, but I was able to follow them even pre-internet age and be able to follow what they were doing through zines and stuff, and those bands became huge. I became huge fans of those bands as well. So it was like, okay, I had this, but now I have all of this and more. And maybe it was a good thing, maybe it wasn't, but and then sometimes bands overstay their welcome that continue to put out albums, and you're just like, all right, I can't deal with this band anymore.
My favorite example of that is Marietta. Marietta is a Midwest emo band or some adjacent. I don't even know what it was, but their discography is so short. They have two albums and then like a couple of EPs, um, with some repeat tracks that are like just done in different styles and stuff. But it's all so good, and they were such a short-lived band, and it's so upsetting I never got to see them live. But they were what got Julian and I into Midwest emo, and then like they permanently altered like my life and stuff. Like modern baseball was like part of it, but it was Marietta that really pushed me over the edge and stuff. And like that's exactly what you're saying with like they have such a small catalog, but they'll have so much influence and whatnot. And
Yeah.
I'm just like a small example of that.
We just started talking in genres and stuff. I mean, if you were had to categorize yourself, what would you categorize yourself as, a genre or sub genre of something?
I'd say we're some sort of subcategory of like emo pop music, something like that. We've been like playing a lot with like fuzz pedals recently. So like that should be cool. It's just loud emo pop maybe. I
Well,
don't know.
fuzz pedals lead you down that like a little shoegazy riff of emo.
Oh, I know. And it's so awesome. And I've been like for the longest time, like one of my favorite bands as well has been like the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Like, I'm actually literally wearing a Smashing Pumpkins shirt right now. But like recently in some of our new stuff, like that influence has been very clear and stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, I know. It seems like everyone does, and I don't
Yeah,
blame them by
yeah,
any means. Like, I love their music, but Billy Corgan is kind of a fucking nut job.
yeah. I mean, and not only like that, it's just it's one of those things. Like I'm done. I'll never see them again live. Like I saw them in 1993 for the first time, and it was fucking epic. And then I've seen them a couple times since then. And the best version I've seen the Smashing Pumpkins as was actually this when Billy Corgan started Zwan. I was like, that's the second best thing I've ever seen him do. And then ever since then, every time I go see him, I can't. I'm like, I can't. You can't take your fucking greatest songs and be like, I'm going to play this song that you guys absolutely love, and I'm going to play it completely different, like no one's ever heard it before. And it's because no one's ever wanted to hear it that way. And he just like fucks over his fans by doing that live. And I'm just like, man, that's fucking terrible. Like, what are you doing? But that's Billy.
Wait, what's going on?
So he'll take songs like if you go see him live now, like you'll get some songs that are exactly how they were originally recorded, which it's not always a good thing, but not always a bad thing. But he'll take songs like, for instance, I saw him at See Here Now, and my wife and I are watching it, and he's like, you can hear the beginning riff of 1979, and then it's a completely different song that you would never recognize, and he's still singing the lyrics to 1979. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? And he just like, that's what he wanted to do that night. So that's what he does. And it just ruins fucking like your feeling of him. And then sometimes he can't fucking sing, which is really hard with that fucking voice that he's got. But it's just like, it's just not great. And it's at that point where I'm like, yeah, no. Somebody asked me last year, like, hey, we got tickets for Pumpkins. Do you want to go? I goes, no, absolutely not. I'm done.
Dang,
I don't need to see them.
dang. I still have not seen the Pumpkins. I don't know how.
Well, it might be something you need to do once in your life, but
I know that's what
you'll figure out real fast what I'm talking about when you do see him.
Yeah. Oh wow, I'm gonna be like disappointed if he does like a different version of like oh god, what was it? Mayonnaise. Oh my god, if he does a different version of mayonnaise, I'll freak out. I'll be like, I'll be so mad. I'll demand my money back. I'm gonna say, no, you play it the way it sounds. That's what I paid for.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear you do a jazz rendition of mayonnaise. I want to hear the guitar be really, really loud, and I want to hear you like whine, scream over it.
So, all the music that we've been talking about right now and all the different bands, is there something that you listen to that we would get a really like big about that you get tons of enjoyment out of? Something people would label it as a guilty pleasure, but something that that you listen to, get tons of enjoyment out of, that we would all just be like, what?
I'm gonna look really quick, but I don't believe in guilty pleasures.
No, they're all pleasures now,
Anyone,
but I tell people,
everyone,
I do this all the time. It doesn't matter how old you are, what cockiness you may have in your life. There's a split second where someone catches you listening to something. It could be just a split second, but you're just like, ooh, and then you're like, yeah, no, this is what I'm listening to, and you try to play it
let
off.
me find something. Like, let me. It'll be somewhere in my liked songs. I know. It's the I'll just pull it right now. Hold on. I love this song. I don't care what anyone says. Da, da. I don't know if I can play that on the podcast or
Yeah,
whatever, but
let's not get me
it's the
sued.
yeah, let's not get you sued. It's the if you gave me a chance, I would take it. It's a shot in the dark, but it's Rather Be, that song by it's like Clean Bandit. That's the artist.
Okay.
Oh, I love that song so much, and like that's like the most like out there, not most out there, but like unexpected for me, I guess, that like people wouldn't think like that's a song I like or something like that.
All right. I'll allow it. Do you have a moment in your life that was centered around music that you'll never forget about?
Possibly. Oh, dude, it was dang. No, I already forgot. Hold on a second. Oh, probably one would be like my first band concert, probably like my first time actually performing music and stuff. It was in like sixth grade band when I was like really young, and we played like the worst performance of I think it's like the da da dun da da dun da da dun 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 da da dun da da
Hmm.
dun da da dun 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 song, and it was like the worst sounding thing of all time. But I definitely thought I was a rock star or something like that, playing my little snare drum. And then like I like in the last year or so, my mom had like played me a video of it, and it was so bad. It was so awful. I'm a little sixth grade band. No one knew how to play our instruments, but like it was just so fun to perform and like see my mom out there.
That's awesome. Now, do you own, let's say, I want to call it memorabilia or something musical that you own, memorabilia wise or personal wise, that is the first thing you would save from a fire? And listen, that family and all that other stuff comes first, but I'm saying, like, if you have an opportunity to save one thing musically of yours, what would it be?
It would probably be it would be my Reverend guitar. If there was one thing I'm gonna like pull out of here and save from a fire, it's gonna be like my one Reverend guitar that I have. Like that one, I worked so hard to get that guitar. And I don't even think it's necessarily like an expensive one, but like times were tough. I think I got it during like the pandemic and whatnot. It's my favorite guitar. I sold it. I sold a Jazz Master to get it, and I like used my tax return, and like life was going so shit for a minute that like when I got that guitar, it was just like my favorite thing for a little bit. And yeah, I've still got it. I don't think I'll ever trade it for anything. Um, in fact, we just like pulled the strings off of it for that we used to record the album and whatnot. Like I'm gonna have my partner make a bracelet of
That's
like the
awesome.
strings.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, that Reverend, that's my baby. It's gotten damaged a couple times. One time I left it with Julian for like a week, and then like I came back, and now there's a huge dent in the back of it. It was like a couple of years ago when I first got it. That was the worst part. Like I had just gotten this guitar,
Oh,
and
I
like
would have, I
I
would have
picked up,
killed somebody.
I picked it up out of the case, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck? I just got this. It didn't even leave the case." And like Julian's like, "I don't know," but like recently Julian was like, "Hey, that was me," and I was like, I can't even be mad at you. Like, and that, like, the damage on it kind of gives it character. It's like, it's nice to have really nice things and keep things in good condition. And like, I don't even, like, it's just it's a decent sized dent in the back of it, but it doesn't affect the playability or the sound of it at all. So like I honestly cherish it.
Awesome. The world's going to end in 5 minutes, meteors hurling into the earth, and you have to listen to one song and only one song. What song are you listening to?
5 minutes. Okay, if I'm dying, Champagne Supernova by Oasis. I would love to go out to that shit. Like, I got 5 minutes. Can I light a joint as well
Yeah, I mean,
and
but
just
you got to
lay out?
listen to music. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm laying out back. Lighting up a joint and I'm going out to Champagne Supernova. If the sun's exploding right now,
It's a great answer, and I love how fast that came to you. So,
nah, it is crazy because that's not a thing that I think about.
yeah.
I don't think I've ever thought about that in my life.
Well, that's why I say the first thing that comes to your mind is usually exactly what it's going to be. So I appreciate
Mhm.
that. Well, we are coming in on our graceful hour here. And before we move to our final segment, I'd love to give you this opportunity now, Jeff, to tell people how to find everything that Brown Maple's doing, how to keep up and get ready to watch for your new album to come out at some point. So now's the time you get to tell all the fans
Give my little shout out, my promo.
all your handles and shout outs are
Heck yeah.
this is your time.
Heck yeah. That's going to be the best place to find us. Everything we're doing, and I'm pretty just open about it. I'm always talking about it and I'm always active on it. It's just our Instagram. Like, if you want to keep up with our little brown maple world, best spot to do it is Instagram. Our at is going to be, hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. I don't know how I don't know this off the top of my head.
It's amazing how many people don't.
Embarrassing. It's going to be brown maple underscore OH. Follow us on the Instagrams, on the gram. But we're also on, I'm calling it Twitter. I don't care. We're also on Twitter. I think it's the same @ as well. And then obviously, no, actually, no, I think that's it. Oh, I guess Spotify. Spotify is a good spot.
Yeah, there's music there.
Follow us on Spotify. We've got music there. And yeah, our Twitter is going to be brown maple underscore OH.
Well, awesome. Well, we are on our final segment. It is our weekly threes. It is 3 things that you are listening to that you would like people to check out. Jeff, you give your 3, then I give my 3 for the week.
All right, guys, I want you to check out, if you have not already, first off, we're going to go with Chumba Wumba. It's going to be goddamn Chumbawamba, dude. If you have not checked out Chumbawamba and you have not listened to Tub Thumper, oh my gosh, you are missing out. That's going to be the first one. I also recommend you check out, let's see. I'm just going through my liked songs. Slow Pulp. That's a band I've really been loving recently. I'm going to go see them live. I think they do a cool thing where I'm pretty sure they play all the songs just in different keys, not like different weird renditions of the stuff, but they'll play songs in different keys, so that you just get a different kind of performance of it. So Slow Pulp, and then who's someone I've been listening to? Oh, Mud Whale, dude. Lately, I've been listening to so much Mud Whale. They're from Cleveland. They're awesome. They're like emo, grungy stuff. They're just great.
Nice. I haven't heard of them, so I just wrote them down. All right, my 3 for this week. My first one is probably going to be pretty shocking to some people because it's a style of music that I really don't listen to. He's a singer-songwriter with a country tinge to it. But the reason why with the country, because I'm not a big country guy, but it brings me back to like Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard. This artist's name is Steve Wilson Jr., and he's got an album called Son of Dad. He's from Indiana, and it's just a guy and his guitar with, a little slide in the back, but it's and the songs are extremely meaningful. So that's number 1, Stephen Wilson Jr.
Steve Wilson Jr.
Number 2 is a band called Mighty Tortuga. The name of their album is self-titled, Mighty Tortuga. They're indie, alt-rock, emo-ish band out of New England. Really good. Just signed to Fred Mascherino's label, and they're going to be on the move. I highly recommend you listen to them. It's just really good music with a lot of different flair in it. And last but not least is Low Tom. LP2 is the album I was listening to. It's Low Tom, LOTOM. If anybody's been in the world of music, you'll know the people that are in the band. David Vazan of Pedro the Lion, other members of His Name Is Alive and Starflyer 69. They put out 2 LPs, and LP2 popped up as I haven't listened to it in a while, so I was running through it this week and remembered how much I loved it. But those are my 3 for this week.
I am actively looking at Low Tom right now, and just their different bands that they've been in.
Yeah, it's a nice. I love when I'll still call it super groups because everybody was in a band that I was a fan of. So yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. It's like how the Postal Service is like a super group with Death Cab, and 2 other bands that the names are absolutely escaping me right now.
Yeah. But Jeff, I want to send out a heartfelt thank you so much for being here, and thank you for creating the music that brought us together and made me want to reach out to you to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been great. I love a chance to talk with anyone about music.
But I mean, I love the little inside track we got on something. So now I have something to look forward to, which is always a great thing in life, is to have fun thing to look forward to. And I get to look forward to an album from you guys soon, hopefully. And, you know, keep creating and we'll keep listening. That's our motto. So,
Yes.
Thank you so much again for creating the music that brought us together. Thank you for sharing with us today. And, I look forward to meeting you somewhere down the line and live and in color and in person. So thanks so much, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
But everybody, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Brown Maple, and have a great fucking time.
Small things in life because it's making me sick.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.